You ever wake up one morning, amble into your front yard, steaming coffee mug warming your hands, and wonder if your lawn has spontaneously joined a witness protection program, disguising itself as a forgotten patch of the Amazon? That was me, 3 weeks ago. The ground wasn't merely damp. It was a sodden, squelching morass. Puddles glinted where solid earth should have been, and the garden hose, usually coiled with neat indifference, lay suspiciously, palpably warm, like a satiated python after a midnight feast. I live alone. No raucous children staging water gun battles, no oblivious roommates trying to cool down a faulty car engine, and certainly no clandestine society of garden gnomes siphoning water for their elaborate subterranean aquaparks. Just me, my rapidly cooling coffee, and a lawn apparently auditioning for a role in a rainforest documentary. My first, sleep-fogged thought was a glitchy sprinkler timer, a notion quickly dispelled by the inconvenient truth that I didn't own sprinklers. My arsenal consisted of one humble hose, a testament to my low maintenance, or perhaps lazy, approach to landscaping. Then came the water bill. It hadn't just jumped. It had performed a financial triple axel into the stratosphere, suggesting I was secretly operating a commercial car wash, or perhaps filling an Olympic-sized swimming pool nightly. My backyard, however, boasted only a valiantly struggling tomato plant that looked perpetually on the verge of giving up, and my trusty, if undeniably rusty, barbecue grill. So, where was this biblical deluge vanishing? I started asking around, my inquiries laced with a casual bewilderment I didn't entirely feel. My neighbors were a generally amiable, wave from the driveway sort. All except one, Karen. And yes, with an almost cosmic inevitability, her name really was Karen. She descended upon our quiet street a couple of months prior. A whirlwind of aggressively floral blouses and sun, hats the size of small umbrellas, immediately anointing herself the de facto queen of the cul-de-sac. Though not the HOA president, one would never guess it from the imperious way she patrolled, clipboard clutched like a royal decree, inspecting lawns as if she were the divine arbiter of suburban perfection. She'd already lodged complaints about the unsuitably jaunty shade of green on Mrs. Henderson's shutters, demanded Mr. Abernathy's grass adhere to a blade height seemingly dictated by lunar cycles, and even berated Dave, our stoic mailman, for parking his van with unnecessary assertiveness before her sanctified mailbox. A menace, truly, but outright theft? Surely, even for Karen, that was a bridge too far. Then came Saturday. Groceries secured, I pulled into my driveway, only to witness a scene that made my jaw mimic a dropped anchor. There she was, in all her floral-bloused, sun-hatted glory, dragging my hose across my yard with the proprietary air of someone who owned the local reservoir. She'd hooked it to a portable pressure washer and was gleefully obliterating grime from her porch. No by your leave, no polite inquiry, just brazen, sun-drenched larceny of my increasingly precious H2O, all while looking like she personally subsidized the municipal waterworks. I sat, dumbfounded, engine off. She glanced up, saw me, and waved, with the breezy bonhomie of a lifelong friend. "Hope you don't mind," she chirped, her voice bright and utterly devoid of shame. Just a quick rinse. Before a single syllable of protest could escape my lips, she'd pivoted, the pressure washer roaring back to life. I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. Confrontation or retreat, cowardice, or perhaps a deep-seated aversion to public meltdowns one. I went inside, staring at my kitchen faucet as if it had personally betrayed me. Later, after my internal Vesuvius had simmered down, I knocked on her door, armed with forced politeness. "Karen," I began, "having some trouble with your waterline, perhaps?" She laughed, a tinkling, dismissive sound. "Oh no, dear. Your hose is just better. The pressure is divine. Besides," she added, with a conspiratorial wink that made my skin crawl, "it's all community property anyway, right?" "Community property?" I nearly choked. My house wasn't a commune. The water wasn't manna from heaven. It was on my tab. Karen, I stated, my voice a tightrope of civility. I don't appreciate you using my hose without asking. She smiled, a saccharine tilt of her head. Well, I'm sure the HOA won't mind. We're all supposed to be neighborly. And click, the door closed. Conversation over. I am not, by nature, confrontational. I solve problems quietly. So, to the HOA I went, via a meticulously documented email, pictures, water bill, a polite query about this mythical community property policy. Their reply, a masterpiece of bureaucratic evasion. We encourage neighbors to resolve minor disputes amicably. Translation: you're on your own. Plan B: a hose lock. Simple, effective, or so I thought. The next morning, it was gone. Not unlocked, but gone. The metal hasp cleanly, brutally, severed by bolt cutters. And there, across the street, was Karen, washing her SUV, my liberated hose gushing with my money. The lock? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. Oh, that? She trilled mid-scrub. A safety hazard, dear. Someone could trip. I took care of it. She smiled, flipped her hair, and resumed. I retreated, seething. The HOA was useless. Karen was untouchable. I was funding her personal spa. Then the spark, a camera. Tiny, motion-activated, tucked under the gutter. If I couldn't stop her, I'd document her. Maybe the HOA would listen to video. Or maybe the internet would deliver justice. 2 days later, I had it. Karen, a cartoon villain in floral, creeping into my yard, smug grin firmly in place. Watering her plants, filling a kiddie pool, she had no kids. Washing her dog, all before my alarm even considered ringing. A full Karen production. I posted a clip online. Neighbor steals my water every morning? It exploded. Outrage, laughter, advice. One hero sent a link to a motion-triggered sprinkler designed for intruders. Karen saw it. The next morning, she was at my door. No sun hat, no smile, just pure, distilled rage. Violating my privacy, threatening my reputation, hostile environment. Actually, I countered. You're violating my property, stealing my water, creating a financial burden. She huffed. Do something about it, she sneered. I dare you. That dare. It ignited something. If Karen wanted water, she was going to get it. Revenge needed planning. I took a day off, a silent sentinel. At 10:30 a.m., the hiss. There she was, yoga pants and smugness, spraying her driveway. I walked out, phone recording. She saw me, hesitated, then continued. When finished, she waved the hose. Works great. You should thank me for keeping it in shape. I forced a smile. The footage was damning. The new video. Local Karen turns neighbor's hose into personal water park. Hit Facebook. Chaos. Laughter, mockery, fury at the HOA. It went wider, Reddit, YouTube. Karen noticed. The next morning, 2 HOA board members flanked her as she pointed accusingly at my house. A tableau of victimhood. Hours later, an HOA warning for me, unauthorized surveillance, hostile behavior. They were angrier at me recording the theft than the theft itself. Done playing by their rules. If the system wouldn't help, I'd make my own. I needed something poetic. Fate intervened. A construction site nearby, installing a massive industrial sewage holding tank. A terrible, brilliant, satisfying idea bloomed. I chatted with a worker, spun a yarn about drainage experiments, slipped him some cash for testing access one evening. He shrugged. Don't break nothing, that. My garage became a workshop. I built an adapter, ran a second hose underground, connected to that glorious tank of concentrated karma. Outwardly, my spigot was normal. Inwardly, It was a gateway to olfactory hell. A test run into a sealed bucket confirmed its horrifying potency. The smell alone could knock out a moose. Under cover of darkness, I set the trap. Cameras rolling, main hose coiled invitingly. 10:30 a.m. The hiss. My heart leaped. On camera, Karen, dragging the hose, no caution now. She attached a new, fancy rotating sprinkler to it, placed it on her lawn, and turned my spigot. A gurgle, a sputter, confusion on her face. Then it hit. A geyser of thick, dark, putrid liquid erupted, arcing over her lawn, her white wicker furniture, and her. The sprinkler spun, dousing her roses, her SUV. By the third rotation, she was screaming, a sound that pierced walls. She ran, slipping on the instant swamp, wrestling the hose at the spigot, drenched in well. Neighbors emerged, gasping. One dropped his coffee. Someone filmed. I watched, savoring every second. This wasn't just revenge. This was art. Later, feigning a mail check, I walked out. She stormed over, ruined, reeking, spewing threats of lawsuits, biohazards. I smiled. You told me to do something about it. So I did. Her face cycled through shades of fury and nausea. She stomped off, yelling about the HOA. Tell them the water wasn't stolen this time. I called. The neighbor's footage went viral. Karen's sewage sprinkler surprise. She was infamous. The neighborhood buzzed with laughter. Her reputation? Composted. But Karen wasn't done. An all-caps letter arrived. Accusations of intentional sabotage. Biological assault. Her dog, she claimed, was traumatized, despite video evidence of Fifi cowering safely indoors. Phase 2. More cameras. A remote-controlled valve splitter in my garage. One switch for city water, another for the alternative. Russian roulette with hoses. Then, silence. Karen vanished indoors for 2 days. On day 3, an HOA fine. $600 for violating community health protocols. She filed a complaint, backed by photographic evidence, of her own soiled lawn, and 2 witnesses to my chemical attack. The HOA meeting to review my evidence? Next month. A setup. But she underestimated me. I delved into HOA bylaws. Section 4.2.b. Trespassing for utility use, immediate investigation, fines, potential suspension of privileges. The golden ticket. I compiled a dossier. Videos, bills, the bylaw highlighted in neon. Copies to the HOA, and to neighbors Karen had terrorized. A rebellion began. Glenn, the hammock guy, thanked me. Others joined. The street buzzed. Someone leaked an audio recording of Karen berating the HOA board. That plus the sewage video sealed her fate. She emerged, sunglasses on, visibly shaken, got in her car, and drove away. Peace. But people like Karen regroup. The remote valve stayed active. 3 days of eerie silence. Then a knock. Karen, flanked by 2 HOA board members, clipboard and folder in hand, dressed for war. They were there to discuss the escalating property dispute and potential biohazard incident. She refused to enter my unsafe home. They handed me her complaint. Weaponized sewage, environmental hazard, emotional distress, stench seeping into her home's foundation. Demands. I pay for cleanup, apologize publicly, attend conflict resolution. I presented my folder. Videos, bills, the HOA bylaw. Their faces changed as they read. Karen blustered about manipulated videos, but they weren't buying it. They'd call a special meeting. As they left, Karen hissed, "I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are." "They already do," I replied. I posted a factual summary online. Support poured in. The HOA meeting. Karen's claims crumbled. She was fined $500 for trespassing, warned of privilege suspension. Her HOA allies vanished. She walked her dog, head down. Her last gasp. A city complaint about an illegal sewage connection. The inspector laughed, confirmed I was clear, and off the record, admired my creativity. The video hit millions of views. T-shirt ideas emerged. My neighbors hailed me a hero. I just felt relieved. But vigilant. People like Karen don't disappear. The remote valve stayed. The cameras stayed. A new, shiny hose lay coiled, a tempting trap. If Karen came for my hose again, she'd better bring a hazmat suit. Nearly a month later, Karen's house was a forgotten monument. My mornings were quiet. The neighbors friendly. Glenn's hammock swayed defiantly. A gold hose nozzle appeared on my porch, an anonymous trophy. The internet saga continued. Memes, parody songs. Strangers thanked me for inspiring them. Then, an envelope under my door. Handwritten. You may have won this time, but this neighborhood won't be yours forever. I'll be back stronger. Karen's angry cursive. I laughed. The next day, a moving truck. Karen vanished. Her house sold quickly to a lovely young couple with a toddler. They brought cookies and asked politely to use their own hose. Normals. A week later, an email. Devin, from another HOA. Karen was his new neighbor, already complaining, already dragging a hose. He'd seen my video. Any tips? I sent him everything. Valve plans, camera recommendations, my Karen defense protocol. His reply. This means war. Days later, glory. Devin used compost tea and expired fertilizer. Karen sprayed again, this time before an audience of scooter-riding kids, falling into her rose bushes. Karen's revenge. Part 2 went viral. Karen, a traveling circus of entitlement, met by an increasingly prepared internet. I started a blog. Ridiculous HOA encounters, suburban pettiness. The hose queen was an anonymous legend. It grew. People were tired of being pushed around. My favorite part wasn't the views, but one afternoon, hearing the new neighbor's toddler laugh, chasing sprinkler water on their lawn from their hose. Peace. Who knew a plastic tube and water pressure could unravel a tyrant? It was ridiculous, poetic, perfect. I watered my tomato plant, quietly. Home, at last.